Where the Sidewalk Ends. The Poems and Drawings of Shel Silverstein. Part 3. Read aloud by Big Papa Scott. The dirtiest man in the world. Oh, I'm Dirty Dan, the world's dirtiest man. I've never have taken a shower. I can't see my shirt. It's so covered with dirt. And my ears have enough to grow flowers. But the water is either a little too hot or else it's a little too cold. I'm musty and dusty and patchy and scratchy. I'm mangy and covered with mold. But the water is always a little too hot or else it's a little too cold. I live in a pen with 5 hogs and a hen, and 3 squizzly lizards who creep in my bed, and they itch as I squirm, and I twitch in the cruddy old sheets that I sleep in. If you look down my throat with a flashlight, you'd note that my insides are coated with rust. I creak when I walk, and I squeak when I talk, and each time I sneeze, I blow dust. The thought of a towel and some soap makes me howl. And when people have something to tell me, they don't come and tell it. They stand back and yell it. I think they're afraid they might smell me. The bedbugs that leap on me sing me to sleep, and the garbage flies buzz me awake. They're my best friends I found, and I fear they might drown, so I never go too near a lake. Each evening at 9, I sit down to dine with the termites who live in my chair, and I joke with the bats, and I have intimate chats with the cooties who crawl through my hair. I'd brighten my life if I just found a wife, but I fear that never will be, until I can find a girl, gentle and kind, with a beautiful face and a sensitive mind, who sparkles and twinkles and glistens and shines, and who's almost as dirty as me. Point of view. Thanksgiving dinner's sad and thankless. Christmas dinner's dark and blue, when you stop and try to see it from the turkey's point of view. Sunday dinner isn't sunny. Easter feasts are just bad luck, when you see it from the viewpoint of a chicken or a duck. Oh, how I once loved tuna salad, pork and lobsters, lamb chops too, till I stopped and looked at dinner from the dinner's point of view. Magical eraser. She wouldn't believe this pencil has a magical eraser. She said I was a silly moo. She said I was a liar, too. She dared me to prove that it was true. And so what could I do? I erased her. Spaghetti. Spaghetti, spaghetti all over the place. Up to my elbows, up to my face. Over the carpet and under the chairs, into the hammock and wound round the stairs, filling the bathtub and covering the desk, making the sofa a mad, mushy mess. The party is ruined. I'm terribly worried. The guests have all left, unless they are buried. I told them, bring presents, I said, throw confetti. I guess they heard wrong, 'cause they all threw spaghetti. Helping. Agatha Fry, she made a pie, and Christopher John helped bake it. Christopher John, he mowed the lawn, and Agatha Fry helped rake it. Zachary Zug took out the rug, and Jennifer Joy helped shake it. And Jennifer Joy, she made a toy, and Zachary Zug helped break it. And some kind of help is the kind of help that's helping's all about. And some kind of help is the kind of help we all can do without. If I had a brontosaurus, I would name him Horace or Morris. But if suddenly one day he had a lot of little brontosauri, I would change his name to Lori. Benjamin Bunn. Poor Benjamin Bunn from Wilmington. His buttons will not come undone. He hasn't changed his clothes since last July. And why? 'Cause no one can unbutton him, no matter how they try, poor guy. And all that he can take off are his socks and shoes and tie. And all that can do is sit and bite his tongue and cry. And he cannot take a bath, so just lets the water run. And he can't go to the toilet, and he can't get any sun. And life just isn't any fun for Benjamin Bunn from Wilmington, whose buttons will not come undone. The battle. Who or would you like to hear of the terrible night when I bravely fought the... No? All right. Minnow Minnie. May I ask you if you've seen my Minnow Minnie who was swimming in your Ovaltine? For you've gone and drunk it up, dear, and she isn't in the cup, dear, and she's nowhere to be found, dear. Do you think she has drowned, dear? The Razor-Tailed Wren. The razor-tailed wren, he'll pretend he's your friend as he cuts all the grass on your lawn. But do not leave anything sticking far out, or swishity, it will be gone. Please do not make fun of mean. Please don't laugh. It isn't easy to write a poem on the neck of a running giraffe. The Bloath. In the undergrowth there dwells a Bloath who feeds upon poets and tea. Luckily, I know this about him, while he knows almost nothing of me. The Yippee-Yuck. In the swamplands long ago, where the weeds and mud glumps grow, a Yippee-Yuck bit on my toe. Exactly why, I do not know. I kicked and cried and hollered, "Oh!" The Yippee-Yuck would not let go. I whispered to him soft and low. The Yippee-Yuck would not let go. I shouted, "Stop! Desist!" and "Whoa!" The Yippee-Yuck would not let go. Yes, that was 16 years ago, and the Yippee-Yuck still won't let go. The snow may fall, the wind may blow, the Yippee-Yuck will not let go. The snow may melt, the grass may grow, the Yippee-Yuck will not let go. I drag him round each place I go, this Yippee-Yuck that won't let go. And how, my child, at last you know exactly why I walk so slow. What's in the sack? What's in the sack? What's in the sack? Is it some mushrooms or is it the moon? Is it love letters or downy goose feathers? Or maybe the world's most enormous balloon? What's in the sack? That's all they ask me. Could it be popcorn or marbles or books? Is it 2 years worth of your dirty laundry? Or the biggest old meatball that's ever been cooked? Does anyone ask me, hey, when's your birthday? Can you play Monopoly? Do you like beans? What's the capital of Yugoslavia? Or who embroidered that rose on your jeans? No. What's in the sack? That's all they care about. Is it a rock or a rolled up giraffe? Is it pickles or nickels or busted bicycles? And if we guess, will you give us half? Do they ask where I've been or how long I'll be staying, where I'll be going, or when I'll be back, or how do, or what's new, or hey, why are you blue? No, all they ask is, what's in the sack? What's in the sack? I'm blowing my stack at the next one who asks me, what's in the sack? What? Oh no, not you too. Won't you? Barbara's eyes are blue as azure, but she is in love with Freddie. Karen's sweet, but Harry has her. Gentle Jane is going steady. Carol hates me, so does May. Abigail will not be mine. Nancy lives too far away. Won't you be my Valentine? Alice. She drank from a bottle called Drink Me, and up she grew so tall. She ate from a plate called Taste Me, and down she shrank so small. And so she never changed, while other folks never tried nothing at all. Shadow wash. I've never washed my shadow out in all the time I've had it. It was absolutely filthy, I supposed, and so today I peeled it off the wall where it was leaning and stuck it in the wash tub with the clothes. I put in soap and bleach and stuff. I let it soak for hours. I wrung it out and hung it out to dry, and whoever would have thunk that it would have gone and shrunk, for now it's so much littler than I. Recipe for a hippopotamus sandwich. A hippo sandwich is easy to make. All you do is simply take 1 slice of bread, 1 slice of cake, some mayonnaise, 1 onion ring, 1 hippopotamus, 1 piece of string, a dash of pepper. That ought to do it. And now comes the problem, biting into it. 18 flavors. 18 luscious, scrumptious flavors. Chocolate, lime, and cherry. Coffee, pumpkin, fudge, banana. Caramel cream and boysenberry. Rocky road and toasted almond. Butterscotch, vanilla dip, butter brickle, apple ripple, coconut and mocha chip. Brandy, peach, and lemon custard, each scoop lovely, smooth, and round. Tallest ice cream cone in town, lying there on the ground. Poor Angus. Oh, when do you do? Oh, what do you do, poor Angus, when hunger makes you cry? I fix myself an omelet, sir, or fluffy clouds in the sky. Oh, what do you wear, poor Angus, when the winds blow down the hills? I sew myself a warm cloak, sir, of hope and daffodils. Oh, who do you love, poor Angus, when Catherine's left the moor? Ah, then, sir, then's the only time I feel I'm really poor. What a day! What a day! Oh, what a day! My baby brother ran away, and now my tuba will not play. I'm 8 years old and turning gray. Oh, what a day! Oh, what a day! Ma and God. God gave us fingers, Ma says. Use your fork. God gave us voices, Mom says. Don't scream. Ma says eat broccoli, cereal, and carrots. But God gave us tasties from maple ice cream. God gave us fingers, Ma says. Use your hanky. God gave us puddles, Ma says. Don't splash. Ma says, be quiet, your father is sleeping. But God gave us garbage can covers to crash. God gave us fingers, Ma says. Put your gloves on. God gave us raindrops, Ma says. Don't get wet. Ma says be careful and don't get too near to those strange, lovely dogs that God gave us to pet. God gave us fingers, Ma says. Go wash 'em. But God gave us coal bins and nice dirty bodies. And I ain't too smart, but there's one thing for certain. Either Ma's wrong or else God is. Bang clang. I'm Big Barney Zang of the railroad gang. My partner is Charlie O'Flynn. And I hold the nails for the big steel rails. And Charlie, he hammers 'em in. And most of the time, he does just fine. But now and again, he fails. Maybe tomorrow, I'll hammer 'em in and let Charlie hold the nails. Traffic light. The traffic light simply would not turn green. So the people stopped to wait. As the traffic rolled and the wind blew cold and the hour grew dark and late. Zoom, vroom, trucks, trailers, bikes, and limousines clattering by. Me, oh my! Won't that light turn green? But the days turned weeks, and the weeks turned months, and there on the corner they stood, twiddling their thumbs till the changin' comes, the way good people should. And if you walk by the corner now, you may think it's rather strange to see them there as they hopefully gaze, with the very same smile on their face, with the very same smile on their very same face, as they patiently stand in the very same place and wait for the light to change. Me stew. I have nothing to put in my stew, you see, not a bone or a bean or a black-eyed pea. So I'll just climb in the pot to see if I can make a stew out of me. I'll put in some pepper and salt and I'll sit in the bubbling water. I won't scream a bit. I'll sing while I simmer. I'll smile while I'm stewing. I'll taste myself often and see how I'm doing. I'll stir me around with this big wooden spoon and serve myself up at 1:45. So bring out your stew bowls, you gobblers and snackers. Farewell, and I hope you enjoy me with crackers. Double-tailed dog. Would you like to buy a dog with a tail at either end? He is quite the strangest dog there is in town. Though he's not too good at knowing just exactly where he's going, he is very, very good at sitting down. He doesn't have a place to put a collar, and I'll admit it's rather hard to lead him. And he cannot hear you call, for he has no ears at all. But it doesn't cost a single cent to feed him. He cannot bite, he'll never bark or growl. Just scratch him on his tails. He'll find it pleasing. But you'll have to take him out for twice as many walks, and I'll bet that you can quickly guess the reason. Paul Bunyan. He rode through the woods on a big blue ox. He had fists as hard as chopping blocks, 500 pounds and 9 feet tall. That's Paul. Talk about working. When he swung his axe, you could hear it ring for a mile and a half. Then he'd yell, "Timber!" and down she'd fall. For Paul. Talk about drinking. That man's so mean that he'd never drink nothing but kerosene. And a 5-gallon can is a little bit small for Paul. Talk about tough. Well, he once had a fight with a thunderstorm on a cold, dark night. I ain't saying who won, but it don't storm at all round here, thanks to Paul. He was 90 years old when he said with a sigh, "I think I'm gonna lay right down and die. 'Cause sunshine and sorrow, I've seen it all," says Paul. He says, "There ain't no man alive can kill me. Ain't no woman round can thrill me. And I think heaven just might be a ball," says Paul. So he died, and we cried. It took 18 men just to bust the ground. It took 24 more just to lower him down. And we covered him up, and we figured that was all for Paul. But late one night the trees started shaking, the dogs started howling, and the earth started quaking. And out of the ground, with a "Hi, y'all!" come Paul. He shook the dirt from off his clothes. He scratched his butt and he wiped his nose. "You know, being dead was no fun at all," says Paul. He says, "Up in heaven they got harps on their knees. They got clouds and wings, but they got no trees. I don't think that's much of a heaven at all," says Paul. So he jumps on his ox with a fare thee well. He says, "I'll find out if there's sorry folks. He says, "I'll find out if there's trees in hell." And he rode away, and that was all we ever seen of Paul. But the next time you hear "Timber!" yell, that sounds like it's coming from the pits of hell. There's a weird and devilish ghostly wail, like somebody's chopping on the devil's tail. Then a shout, a call, a crash, a fall. That ain't no mortal man at all. That's Paul. Dancing Pants. And now for the Dancing Pants, doing their fabulous dance. From the seat to the pleat, they will bounce to the beat, with no legs inside of them and no feet beneath. They whirl and twirl and jiggle and prance. So just start the music and give them a chance. Let's have a big hand for those wonderful, marvelous, super sensational, utterly fabulous, talented dancing pants. I won't hatch. Oh, I'm a chickie who lives in an egg, but I will not hatch. I will not hatch. The hens, they are all cackle. The roosters all beg. But I will not hatch. I will not hatch. For I hear all the talk of pollution and war, as the people all shout and the airplanes roar. So I'm staying in here where it's safe and it's warm, and I will not hatch. with his mouth full of food. Milford Dupree, though he knew it was rude, talked with his mouth full of food. He never would burp or walk in the nude, but he talked with his mouth full of food. His mother said, "Milford, it's crude and it's lewd to talk with your mouth full of food." Why, even the milk cow who mooed as she chewed never mooed with her mouth full of food. And the cuckoo who never have ever cuckooed if he'd cooed with his mouth full of food. His dad said, "Get married or get tattooed, but don't talk with your mouth full of food. If it was a crime, you would surely get sued if you talked with your mouth full of food." Why, just like an animal, you'd be zooed as you talk with your mouth full of food. For you know we're all put in a terrible mood when you talk with your mouth full of food. They pleaded and begged. He just giggled and chewed and laughed with his mouth full of food. And all they advised him he simply pooh-poohed. He pooh-poohed with his mouth full of food. So they sent for a gluer and had his mouth glued, 'cause he talked with his mouth full of food. Now instead of good morning, he says, "Mm-hmm, My hobby. When you split from the 26th floor and it floats on the breeze to the ground, when you spit from the 26th floor and it floats on the breeze to the ground, does it fall upon hats or on white Persian cats or on heads with a pitty-pat sound? I used to think my life was a bore, but I don't feel that way anymore. As I count up the hits, as I smile, as I sit, as I spit from the 26th floor. Instructions. If you should ever choose to bathe an armadillo, use 1 bar of soap and a whole lot of hope and 72 pads of Brillo. The worst. When singing songs of scariness, of bloodiness and hairiness, I feel obligated at this moment to remind you of the most ferocious beast of all, 3,000 pounds and 9 feet tall, the glurpy, slurpy Skakagrawl, who's standing right behind you. The bagpipe who didn't say no. It was 9 o'clock at midnight at a 3:15 when a turtle met a bagpipe on the shore side by the sea. And the turtle said, "My dearie, may I sit with you? I'm weary." And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "I have walked this lonely shore. I have walked to waves and pebbles, but I've never loved before. Will you marry me today, dear? Is it no you're going to say, dear?" But the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to his darling, "Please excuse me if I stare, but you have the plattest skin, dear, and you have the strangest hair. If I begged you pretty please, love, could I give you just 1 squeeze, love?" And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Ah, you love me? Then confess. Let me whisper in your dainty ear and hold you to my chest." And he cuddled her and teased her, and so lovingly he squeezed her, and the bagpipe said, "Aruga!" Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Did you honk or bray or neigh? For auga, when you kissed, is such a heartless thing to say. Is it that I have offended? Is it that our love has ended?" And the bagpipe didn't say no. Said the turtle to the bagpipe, "Shall I leave you, darling wife? Shall I waddle off to Woden? Shall I crawl out of your life? Oh, I beg you to tell me. Shall I move or depart and go, dear? Oh, I beg you to tell me. No, dear." But the bagpipe didn't say no. So the turtle crept off crying, and he never came back no more. And he left the bagpipe lying on the smooth and sandy shore. And some night when tide is low there, just walk up and say, "Hello there," and politely ask the bagpipe if this story's really so. I assure you, darling children, that the bagpipe won't say no. The longest nose in the world belongs to Miss Betsy Bluebonnet, who lets me write things on it. Rudy Felsch. Rudy Felsch knows how to belch better than anyone ever did. Margot says that Rudy Felsch is a nasty, vulgar kid. Someday he will go to hell or jail or Canada. But now, every night I pray that first Rudy Felsch will show me how. Fred? Out of the cold Caribbean into the desert Libyan, there crawled a strange amphibian, and we shall call him Fred. You say let's call him Ted, or maybe Lou, or Jed? But I want to call him Fred. You like Maurice instead? Or Barnaby? Or Red? Or Lucifer? Or Ned? Well, anyway, he's dead. End of part 3. The end. If you enjoyed the book, please subscribe. Hit the like button too. There's some gifts in the description. Please donate at patreon.com/BigPapaScott or at PayPal at the address below. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.